You could take validation and say, well, I want to be validated by the friends I hang out with, so I'm going to join this gang life, or I'm going to do things this way or that way, because you're going to get it you're going to get it no matter what it takes to get it. You're going to get it, whether it's positive or negative. But most of us go more towards the negative side of it instead of looking at the validation that comes from Tonkashila, from the spirit world, from God. Validations. There's a spiritual validation and there's a physical validation that we're all searching for. But we tend to lean more to the physical, and we want the validation coming from the external side of who we are as human beings, rather than the spiritual and internal validation that comes from the Creator. So we see everything through this three-dimensional lens. You know, it's a see, touch, and do. I won't believe it until I see it. Show me the sign. You know, that's human nature. I want to be validated by the friends I hang out with, so I'm going to join this gang life, or I'm going to do things this way or that way, because you're going to get it you're going to get it no matter what it takes to get it. You're going to get it, whether it's positive or negative. And that's the way it works. But most of us go more towards the negative side of it instead of looking at the validation that comes from Tonkashila, from the spirit world, from God. So when we really go back to tapping into that source, you know, you're basically going true north, and you're resurrected, you're re-erected, you're living in that vertical world rather than the linear. We all come from the star nation, the spirit world, heaven, whatever you want to label it. We come from up above to earth, and we fall into this, I would say, dualistic right-wrong, black-white concept. We get stuck in the square logic, and then we lose our way. It's no different from, you know, you take the Adam and Eve story. Most people are familiar with the Adam and Eve story, but you had the tempter come with the forbidden fruit, but the cunning side of that was, you can be as smart as God. So they bit into the apple because they wanted to be as bright and smart as God, or the Creator. We're still biting out of that apple because we are looking for that external validation from the beginning of the Adam and Eve story to now. Because we want to do something that makes us popular or gives us this stamp of approval, and we spend our whole life doing it when we don't really need to do it, because if you really are connected to Source, then you don't need a validation from man. That's why, you know, in the Christian world, they talk about relying upon the arm of flesh. You don't need to rely upon the arm of flesh. You need to rely more on the arm of spirit than flesh. But most of us get stuck and hung up on the validation piece because maybe we were deprived of it as a child. The first 7-year cycles of life, from conception to 7, if we weren't given that within the 4 walls of our home, then, you know, we go to school and we're constantly searching out that approval and validation. And there's 2 sides to that. You could do it spiritually and tap into that positive truth, or go into the external side, and then ego and pride kicks in. And that's the separation that happens between a human being. And then that human being becomes a human doing, because it's all about, this external validation that we are all searching for as human doings. Because we're not human beings anymore, because the reality to it is that we've separated ourselves from a power greater than us. I spent many years in my life trying to be validated, trying to be the tough guy, try to be this, try to be that, driving the fancy cars, the big houses. That was all an external validation of this. I don't need this anymore, because this comes from there. And that's all that really matters, is the acknowledgement from the spirit world, from the ancestors. It says, okay, you're getting it now. Do something with it. Share it with the universe. Share it with the world.